Hey everybody, welcome back to RotoCurves.com. I am Josh Collacchi here to discuss FanDuel's Week 7 tight ends in NFL Daily Fantasy Football. Of course, in tight ends, you're looking at Rob Gronkowski, and before, there really wasn't a lot to look at before that, but there are a few options this week that I think could be in play. Now, there's only two guys I'm going to mention here because other than Gronkowski, I don't think that there are that many options worth playing, and it's not because of the lack of production from these tight ends. There have been some that score, but I think these two particular tight ends are just well worth playing considering their price and other options. The first guy is Antonio Gates, who I'm going to have in pretty much every lineup I can think of, in cash, especially on FanDuel, because of a variety of factors. The first one is his matchup. He faces the Oakland Raiders on Sunday, and we all know about the Raiders against tight ends. Of course, the Denver Broncos weren't able to do anything with their tight ends, but if you watch that passing offense, they have struggled a ton. Owen Daniels can't seem to get open, and even if he is open, Peyton Manning has struggled to reach open receivers with the lack of arm strength he's had this season. But they don't have to worry about that with Phillip Rivers, so Antonio Gates should be an excellent play and a good matchup. Now, of course, you see these guys and you think, is it too good to be true? Gates, of course, has the top matchup. He's one of the better tight ends in the game, future Hall of Famer, and he's playing at a very high level. He's not too good to be true, though. He just has an excellent matchup. So even if everybody's going to be on him and it seems too good to be true, don't fall into that trap. Be sure to keep him in your lineups, and I think he's well worth it. The Raiders have given up the most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. We've discussed their matchup, and Gates leads all tight ends in targets, although he has only played 13.5 targets per game. He's seen 27 targets already. And Keenan Allen is banged up. He hurt his groin in the end of Week 6 game and believe in halfway through the fourth quarter. And if you remember watching that game, after Allen came out, Gates saw a ton of targets. He ended up catching, I believe, 9 balls for over 90 yards. So with Allen out of the picture, even if he does play, he'll be banged up. I expect Gates to see a ton of targets. And in a matchup against the Raiders, you can't ask for a more perfect opportunity or aligning of the stars, per se, for Antonio Gates in Week 7. At 5,800, he's got to be in all my lineups. The next guy, if you choose to stay away from Gates, which would make sense in tournaments because sometimes you want to go with a guy that will be lesser owned, and that will be Delanie Walker, who faces the Atlanta Falcons in Week 7. If you look at the Falcons' defense, they have allowed a touchdown to opposing tight ends in each of the last 3 games, and they've given up a touchdown in 4 of the last 5. In addition, the Falcons have given up at least 7.5 or 7.4 FanDuel points to be exact in every game to opposing tight ends. And that's a big thing to look at because there aren't a lot of defenses that have struggled against tight ends in each week. Of course, there are the top matchups like the Giants, like the Raiders, and actually like the Falcons who we're discussing here. But there aren't many to look at. Considering the fact that Delanie Walker is a guy that is worth using and worth rostering, it's an excellent point to see that he goes against a defense that has struggled each and every week against the tight end. Now, Delanie Walker himself has played 4 games so far this season. He's averaging over 7 targets. He's caught 22 passes. I believe he's only not caught 7 targets, which is an incredible number. And considering that he's been very consistent, he has 5.6 FanDuel points in each game so far this season, and in 3 of those 4 games, he has double-digit fantasy points. At just 5,500, you're going to be hard-pressed to find another value at tight end. Now, we just discussed Antonio Gates, so he's going to be very highly owned, and I think he's going to be one of the top tight ends on the slate. But if you're looking at a guy like Delanie Walker, who is also in a good situation and is very safe, if you want to save the few extra $100, go with Walker over Gates, but I would still recommend getting Gates in your lineup if you can. That brings us to the end of our tight end breakdown this week for Week 7 on FanDuel. Thank you for watching, and as always, make sure to give us a thumbs up so we can continue to bring you analysis each and every week. You can find this analysis and everything else on RotoCurve.com. There's free tool, free analysis, free everything. That's one of the best parts about RotoCurve, so be sure to check it out. Use all the data to your advantage, and let's make Week 7 a profitable one in NFL DFS. Good luck, everybody.